We are going to do our beaded tray. In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to stain your tray. You'll get a round tray, you'll get beads, and a little container of stain. This is a water-based stain, so it's water cleanup. Just dip your brush into your stain just a little bit, and you can start on the top. You want to go with the grain. The grain is running this way, so you want to go with the grain. Just going to dip in, put it on, apply it on. Doesn't matter how you apply it on because you are going to wipe it off. Do around the edges. In your kit, you will have a blue shop towel, and then you can just take your shop towel and wipe it. You want to be careful not to get too many fingerprints and hanging on the edges. And you can wipe the outside edge. There. Now you're going to want to let that dry overnight. And then you want to stain your beads. You can just take a little brush. I've got some paint sticks here that you can let them dry on. So it's the same thing. You're going to dip in there, wipe most of excess off, wipe off some of the stain, and then you're just going to brush your little beads. I would do about 5 of them. It will get kind of messy. Do about 5, let them sit, and then wipe them off. Wipe the stain off. I'm using the white wash stain on this kit. We do have 3 other options. We have the dark walnut, and we have a lighter color, which is called, it's a gray. We have a gray and then a lighter brown color. There. And you let them sit for about 5 minutes. You don't want them to completely dry because you might have some darker spots and lighter spots. So then you're just going to take, once it's sat for about 5 minutes, you're just going to take your cloth and kind of wipe it off. And the same thing, set those to dry. There, and now you can continue on and doing your rest. Hi, so now that our board is dry, we're going to have to, if you feel your board, it's going to have like little fuzzies on it. So you're going to want to take your sandpaper and give it a sand. And you're also going to sand with the grain, and you can see how the grain is running this way. So you're going to want to make sure that you sand with the grain. And you're going to sand both sides. So you're just going to give it a little sand, just like that. You can sand the outside edge also. And then the back side you're going to sand also. There, and it'll be nice and smooth now. Then you're just going to take your little cloth that you have, wipe off any dust. And right around the outside edge. Now this is my not so nice side. You also got in your kit, you got 4 1-inch balls, and these are going to be your feet. So you would have stained them when you did your other beads. I'm going to use glue. I like to use the wood glue. If you don't have wood glue at home, you can also use a hot glue gun. Also, you just want to make sure that when you're using a hot glue gun that you don't put a whole bunch of glue on it, because it will give it a little bit of depth. So you can place your 4 beads where you'd like them. Usually about a 1/2 inch from the outside edge, and kind of make it in a square form. So this is where I'm going to line them up. Right about there. Then I'm just going to take a little bit of glue, dab it on one side of the bead, and then also where I'm going to set it, I'll just put a little bit of glue and just set it in place. Just like that. A little bit on this one, a little bit there. One thing nice about wood glue, if you don't quite have it in the spot, it doesn't dry instantly, so you can move it around a little bit. And then just put a little bit of pressure on your bead so that they kind of stay in place. Right about there. So now I'm just going to try and line them up, make sure they're in the same spot. And if you like, my first one is already pretty in there, pretty tacky. So leave this for about a 1/2 hour, and then once that is dry, we will start on the rest of the beads that go on the top of the tray. Okay, so now we're going to attach our beads to our tray. What you're going to do is you're going to get 48 beads, and you're going to align them all up around your tray, which I've already done. I actually ended up only using 47 with just a slight space between each bead. Some beads are actually closer than others, and it still looks pretty good. So you're just going to take your glue. Actually, these when we did the tray, we actually sanded the tray to get a nice smooth tray, but the beads we don't have to. They are actually fairly smooth once you put your stain on. So you're just going to start wherever you want to start. You just put a little dab of glue on the bottom of your bead. You don't want to have too much because you don't want it oozing out of the sides. And how I line this up is just I hold my finger and try and make them evenly with the edge of the tray. And then just work your way around. And what is nice about using the glue is it is movable because it doesn't dry too quick. If you have got too much glue on the bottom of your bead, you can just use your little shop towel and take a little bit of it off. This is kind of tedious, but it will look beautiful when you're done. Yeah, and just keep going around and setting the beads in place. Just like that. all glued on. You're going to let that dry, and then the final step to the tray is to put some hemp oil on, and the hemp oil gives it a little bit of protection. But we would let this dry for a few hours and then add the hemp oil. Whoops. And try not to drop them on the floor. Now that our tray is dry, our beads are all glued on, and you can see in the video that some of the beads are close to being touching, some are a little bit farther apart, but it still all looks very good. So our last step is to apply the hemp oil, and the hemp oil is like a top coat. So you just dip in with your foam brush and apply it, and it doesn't really matter how you don't have to go with the grain or anything. You just want to get everywhere. It'll look a little, as I'm putting it on, it looks a little yellow green, but once it soaks in and dries, it'll be clear. So you just want to rub it all over on the tray and trying to get underneath the beads a little bit where the glue, where you glued them in between there. And then you also want to get on all the beads, just like that. And the hemp oil is actually quite nice even on your hands, so it's okay if you get it on your hands. It's kind of like a moisturizer too. Yeah, you can get on the sides, and you're just going to rub it in. That's our tutorial for our round beaded tray. Thank you.